evening, everybody, and welcome to the September meeting of the South Bend Board of Education. First item on the agenda would be stand and say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next up would be roll call. Mr. Phillips.
Taylor Christian. Here. Terry Lally. Here. Amy White. Here. Ralph Wentz.
Here.
Brian Magdal. Here.
First item on the agenda would be the approval of the minutes from the August 17th, 2020 meeting. Can I have a motion to accept those? Terry makes the move and Amy seconds. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And on to Mr. Phillips and the treasurer report, please.
Okay, our general fund balance, the regular general fund at the end of the month was $4,854,481.54. We've been collecting, as you know, the advances, and we just had final settlement at the end of last week for property taxes, and our bond issue was resolved as a current balance of $1,811,571.94, and the next payment is due December 1st. Going back to the grants, you see the 2020 last fiscal year grants. We haven't done the final expenditure reports. Those are all zeroed out as far as the fund balances are concerned. And this year's grants are starting to, the salaries that we pay out of them are starting putting those in the negatives until we get cash requests. So usually permanent under that in the first second. So the funds, all funds balance is $6,981,639.87. So pulling up the wrong one, okay, our Farmers Bank balance, $5,846,319.54. Premier Bank, $1,045,452.98. Star Ohio, $241,481.05. It's a total of $7,133,254.57. We have outstanding checks of $152,394.70. Do all the math, going down with petty cash is always at $780. Total balance $6,981,639.87, which matches the fund balance on cash summary. You also have an appropriation summary, a revenue summary, and a check register. Disbursements, I think it's called now. If there's any questions on any of these reports, I can bring those now.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Mr. Phillips at this time? If not, can I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report? Brian moves. Can I have a second? Taylor seconds. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And on to Mrs. Carlson and new business.
Yes, I would like to first start with our bill level reports. Let's start with Mr. Davis.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, really, for our good news, mainly going to just do a quick summary of our return to school this year. We have the middle school and the high school. We really want to thank the board for getting us back to the building. I think we've all seen that the boys and girls and the staff are just very excited to be back to person. Thank you for allowing us to start on the hybrid schedule. I know so much in the elementary is helped with the smaller groups, teaching the routines, procedures, just having less students at one time to go through that this first couple weeks of school. It has been a very smooth start, I believe, in all three of our buildings. We really haven't had too many issues. A lot of new procedures put in place with the students entering the morning and having the temperatures taken. Started off slowly, but every day we get a little bit quicker at it. The boys and girls know what to do. Throughout the day, there aren't any issues with wearing masks, with keeping their spacing as they're moving through different traffic patterns in the hallways. So things are going really well. I know in the elementary we had to change our lunches this year. We're eating lunch in the classroom. That has gone really well. Some of the boys and girls like it better because it's quiet, it's calm, versus having hundreds of kids in the cafeteria at one time. And Dean and custodial staff helping with that and just really made that work out very well. Our students are still traveling to specials, so it is nice they get to leave their classrooms throughout the day. Our special teachers are doing a great job with that. Our car rider dismissal has changed, but that's even a new procedure that will probably stay in place as we get back to having all of our students here. And I want to thank all of our teachers that they come out. The procedures they've put in place for that have really made that go smoothly. And again, boys and girls listen to what we're asking them to do, and they do it. For our fully remote students, we've had a bit of a slow start getting things going with that, as our teachers were really creating that program from scratch. And it did take a lot to get all of our students who are remote, getting their emails in and getting them connected to those teachers. But every day that gets better. I can't thank our teachers enough, Mrs. Cardinal, Mrs. Windler, and Miss Marquette, for all the hard work they've put into making that a great program. We've still been able to do things that we've always done. We had Picture Day last week. We had Picture Day this Friday for our remote students. We're still doing our fall fundraiser, even though it's a little bit different. We're still doing our Student of the Week in the elementary again, even though it's a little bit different. But we're trying to do as much as we can to keep things as normal as possible. And I can just say it has been a very, very smooth start. So overall, from all three of us, we're just extremely proud of our students and our staff. They've done a wonderful job with all the challenges they faced. And we're just hoping that as the school year continues, we will continue to see that success.
Just from the high school to just kind of add a couple of things going on. The first thing is this Berkeley. We have a new program called Ambiance. It's helping, just kind of helps kids with a lot of different things, with applications, with some career readiness stuff. So she's been out spending the first couple of days, spending some time with juniors and seniors, kind of reintroducing it because of how the school year ended last year. One of the important things for that is right now we're not having colleges in for our seniors to do like, we have registered colleges come and talk to our kids here about those universities. That's kind of happening online. We're actually doing it through Ambiance for their programs that we're utilizing this year, along with the ACT test prep for juniors and seniors. Made possible by our Southbridge Schools Foundation. They financially supported that. Very thankful for them providing that opportunity for kids that are choosing to do it. They have free access to online ACT prep information in Ambiance, so it's a class that we're offering. It's a half credit elective. It's a technology class in a pass-fail situation. So there's a lot of good things with Ambiance. The next few weeks, she's going to be reintroducing Ambiance to sophomores and freshmen because our freshmen didn't use it in 8th grade, which was only doing last year. So that's one of the things that's going on in the high school. And then the last thing is this coming Friday is our homecoming game. We had some homecoming court. Julian Glasgow, Brady Carwalker are the freshman representatives, Kelly Zolik, and Tyler Remish are the sophomores.
Mallory Pittman and Dylan Dominguez are the juniors. And the seniors are Evelyn Davidson, Bree Fuller, Mackenzie Pappas, Marina Schneider, Zach Garlow, Josh Marino, Mikey Perry, and Gary Sheets. So this year we're doing a little something different. We're having a homecoming dance. We're planning on Saturday on having like a movie night for the kids out at the stadium. This is Scott. So in the process of organizing this with the council, buying a big screen, bulk screen. Mr. McManus helping organize the projector, the sound, and everything. And then on Saturday night, I'm going to have tea for maybe like 8:20. The kids are going to have a ticket to come in all this week, like they would do the dance. And then like 8:20 on Saturday night, they're going to watch it. I think we can get a bit before we know the night, so we'll be doing that instead of having home. Thanks.
Good evening, everybody. I just want to sort of piggyback off of Mr. Matus and just let everybody know how wonderfully things are going with the reentry. But it's not about us, it's about the kids. They have adapted remarkably well to the hybrid reentry plan. Everything from differences in the cafeteria to logistical differences in the transitioning from class to class. We got one-way hallways, we have one-way stairs, and they've just done a fantastic job. Before the end of the day, I sent an email out to my staff asking them for some good news, and that's what it was. I got a number of responses from our staff members just saying, please make sure that you mention how good the kids are doing. With the masks, I can't stand it. I do it because I have to, but they've just been remarkable, and it's a testament to all of you. I'm assuming that most everybody sitting back there has children in school. So that's it for me this week.
Thank you, administration. Ms. Pierce from Food Service.
Hi everyone. So for those of you who don't know, the USDA about 2 weeks ago passed, I don't know if you want to call it a bill per se, but they passed where all students K through 12 across the whole US are allowed to eat breakfast and lunch for free. I know I've had a handful of parents call to ask if there's any forms they need to fill out or anything they need to sign up for, and they don't. It's just an automatic, your student attends school here, they can get breakfast and lunch for free. Even on remote days, we're providing packed meals for those who sign up for it while they're here, or even if they're 100% remote, they're also eligible for the 100% free breakfast and lunches. And that is in effect until December 31st. So when we come back from winter break, whatever status you were prior to this would go into effect then, unless USDA, of course, extends it. But as of now, it's until December 31st. So spread the word to everyone. Make sure they know you can get free breakfast and lunch.
Thank you, Ms. Pierce. Next up, curriculum and instruction, special ed, Ms. Lewis.
Thanks. Just a couple of updates. I'll start with the curriculum side. We are members of the Striving Readers Grant through the Mahoney County Consortium. This is the third year of the grant, and it will be ending after this year. There was remaining funds from that grant where the buildings that were involved were able to spend that money on some various approved items. And we were fortunate enough to use some of those dollars to purchase Ames Web testing in both language arts and math at the middle school. So now we have Ames Web testing K-8, and I feel bad for the kids because they have taken a lot of assessments, but it's going to be very, very helpful for us as we move forward to look at where some of those gaps we assume are from the instructional COVID closure last year. So we're really looking forward to being able to put that benchmarking piece in place at the middle school and work with our elementary team as well. So that's kind of what's happening on the curriculum side. From the student service side, I just want to make sure everyone is aware that we are doing all of our IEP and ETR meetings virtually. So when we set those up, we'll send the links out. We did that when we were closed last year and held those meetings virtually and had our whole team there together in, I call it 2D. So we're going to continue to do that this year to maintain safety of our students, but that communication with our families is just really important. So those are two things that are going on am handing off
Next up
to,
transportation.
Evening, everyone. There's a whole lot to say than the social distancing. We've been able to do that in every bus. It's worked out great. The kids have been very good. It's went exceptionally well. They're good at using hand sanitizer. They're good at keeping their masks on. They've understood how they cannot be in the aisle. There really has not been many complaints. There's been a couple bugs along the way, and they were taken care of right away. The drivers are sanitizing the buses every day. So there really has been no problems at all on the bus.
I have Mr. Pagnata, he's up there kind of observing. I can speak for him. He has been working tirelessly with his crew, making sure that the supplies are in the classrooms if the teachers need a refill or anything, as well as working to ensure our technology is ample of what we have and working and seeking out additional resources to ensure that we have enough technology. So he is constantly moving and running around trying to help out. So can't thank him enough. Mr. Farron we have 2 volleyball games going on right now. So he is out there, and actually Mr. Rowan just ran across, he's going across for the soccer game. So we have 3 things going on right now. So Mr. Farron wanted to share that our fall sports are underway. Obviously, we are very lucky that we've been successful being able to maintain our sports. Our student athletes are doing a great job of keeping their distance and making sure that they're staying safe. They are all competing at a very high level in our conference. Our middle school football is 3-1. 7th grade volleyball is undefeated in the NE8. 8th grade volleyball is in 3rd place. Middle school cross country just finished 4th in the Salem Invitation. High school sports, as we all know, our football team is 4-0, ranked 4th in the state presently. High school volleyball is tied for 3rd place in the NE8. Golf just finished 4th in the NE8, is getting ready to start their postseason tournaments. Boys soccer, the record presently is 5-2-1. Girls soccer, 5-3. Cross country finished 5th out of 21 teams in the Spark Invitational. So they did very well. And then he would like to send a special thank you out to Mr. Bush for all the time that he has put into getting the South Range cross country track. He was able to make sure that that was ready to go, and we started hosting our cross country meets here on site again. He's put countless hours in to get the course ready. We've had multiple NE8 meets here on site. If you've come at different times, we're trying to work out how they come up out of the tunnel, because we have to kind of block the road off so that when they're running across, the cars don't pull in. So we are working on that, but it's worked out very well. The kids have enjoyed it, and the other teams have been able to come here on site to participate. So that new cross country track has really worked out well. Next up, Ms. Lally, is there anything? Mr. Christian, anything to student achievement liaison?
Okay, thank you everyone for all of the good news and the updates about the beginning of the school year is gone. Next up would be Mr. Phillips and approval of fiscal year 20 appropriations.
Okay, the general fund, we've suggested, what I sent to you, $13,684,330. That represents 3.87% over what we spent last year. And I articulated in the narrative that I sent to the board that deals with some of the extra things that we had to do for COVID, the supplies and stuff with increased supplies that we need and the different types of supplies that we need. Typically, we spend between 2 and 4, actually 2 and 5, depending on the years or something more. So this is pretty much in keeping, a little bit on the higher end of what we've done in the past. As far as our special revenue, the grants, athletics, those just represent whatever their balance was last year, plus what their revenue was last year. We'll be talking a little bit about the athletics. We know their gate receipts with the lesson game and lesson games and lesson people who are allowed in the stadiums. Of course, football and basketball are a big revenue generator. So we're gonna be keeping an eye on that. I put down just arbitrarily $100,000 last year, it was close to $150,000 in revenue. So obviously, we know we're not gonna be able to do what we typically do, but they'll also get a lot of donations from the Tues. Their actions will shape that. So there could be some changes depending on, as far as expenditures, depending on how revenue starts coming in. Other than that, the grant amounts, as you know, are provided for us. They do change slightly throughout the year with everything that I have down for fiscal year 21 grants, as you've noted by Special Class Center 9021. IDEA, Title 3, Title 1, Title 2A, Title 4A. And some of those are last year's, because in July and August we do have some expenditures that will come if we issue grants, just getting paid. The debt service payment, that just comes right off the debt service schedule. You can see that at $1,205,462.50. And the OSLC, which is part of our PI account, facilities improvement, and I put in $250,000, which is a little bit, actually $100,000 more than it was last year. We spent $149,673 last year. And the reason for that is the deal on the land we're discussing. The lunchroom is another story as well. The tape we reported earlier should help. As you know, they took a pretty good meeting on lunch prices just from March through the end of May. And so this whole thing, everything that I'm doing now is going on the general assumption that I'm going back to school 5 days a week pretty soon, and they're not going to be told to shut down. And that's what we're doing now, so we'll see what happens. As you know, as with the 5-year forecast, we can update appropriations anytime and as many times as we need to. This is the starting document. Again, with the narrative that I sent you, if you have any questions after reviewing that, I can understand these now.
Okay, this is 20 on that's a typo or?
Well, no, there's two columns. I'm comparing 21 to 20.
I'm talking resolution, I think he's talking.
Oh, okay. Well, that is my fault. I didn't get these from Mrs. Carlson, and I should have got that, and I didn't.
I just want to make sure we're out of trouble.
I covered it, so when you get time.
Any other questions from Mr. Phelps on this document before we move on? Okay, if not, we'll go to Mrs. Carlson and adoption of the routes and stops, and probably not a lot more to add to it, but anyhow, Mrs. Carlson.
As you know, every year we just, we have to approve our school bus routes, stops, and procedures for the 2021 school year. Ms. Hammond has provided those for all of you. It was in your packet. She works really hard to make sure that the routes are balanced and the fuel distance. So if there's any questions for those regarding the routes.
Anybody have any questions? I just had, thank you, Mrs. Hammond. I know that is, in a normal year, difficult. I'm sure this year is going to be more difficult. So all your hard work is very much appreciated. I want to say publicly. Okay, next up would be approval and payment in lieu of for those taking their kids to a private school.
Every year we need to board approve the payment in lieu of transportation. For this year, I'm asking the board to approve the payment of $300. The state released last year, with the minimum payment would be $250, or $50. Every year it increases a little bit, so my recommendation is the $300 per child that goes to a private school.
And that would, take us right into, declaration in practical to transport with a school bus for those students as well.
And again, the secondary part, as you stated, this is when we find out that it's impractical for us to transport to a private school because of distance. These families fill out paperwork and we board approve that they will be in lieu of transportation payment because it's impractical. So they've done their paperwork, these are families that return, and that they are transporting their own students, and we will reimburse them at the end of the year based on their attendance.
Okay. Next would be the approval of the modification of the student activity fee for the 2021 school year.
We've had a lot of discussions regarding this, especially not knowing at the beginning of the year if we were even going to have sports. So we held off trying to figure out how to make it fair and equitable, and also make it divided out through seasons, as we're still even waiting to hear what's going to happen for the winter season. So I'm asking that we can move forward and approve continuing to do the activity fee, but breaking it apart by season. So we would only have the students pay the $25 fee per season based on if we are or are not allowed to play. So if we aren't given the go-ahead to play, then we aren't going to send the form home and have the students pay the activity fee. So kind of dividing it out throughout the year instead of one payment.
Okay, next up would be the approval for athletic-related expenses from the general fund, and I think this is what Mr. Phillips was alluding to.
Ohio Revised Code allows us to spend up to 1/2 of 1% of the general fund revenue budget. And of course, you don't know what that is for the end of the year, but based on previous years, that's in the neighborhood of $60,000 for us. And so, for me to approve purchase orders for officials, even for this football season, not knowing, I want the board to be fully aware that at some point, certainly by the end of the year, we're watching this, but if it gets ahead of us or we get behind it, depending on the perspective, we could have to make an athletic fund whole, transferring some different funding. Again, that's big things, football and basketball, gate receipts, those are just going to be no matter what because of the COVID-19 restrictions.
I'd like to just add to that too, something that, Mr. Barron's doing a really good job with the tickets. We will have parents pay to park over by the stadium. As we continue and we opted to do tournaments after postseason. Ohio High School will take all the ticket price. So we will only be able to pay the park will be the fee that we will receive when our football team goes into postseason. So those are some of the things that we're not used to. We're used to the ticket sales and the different things. So that's where it's an unknown because Ohio High School is changing it as we go.
Okay, any other questions on that issue? Okay, next up, approval of independent golf participation for the OHSAA Girls Golf.
We had 2 girls that came out this year. We have a co-ed team, and we had 2 young girls who wanted to play. And to encourage them to continue and not give up, we actually sought out another district. Struthers had 3 girls, so their coach volunteered to be a volunteer coach for our girls, take them with them to different tournaments. He actually coached them. The parents drove them out to where Struthers practices, and they practiced with him. So this is similar to what we do with wrestling with Springfield. So what this approval is just basically giving permission that going into the postseason, they will be independent representatives. They will be able to still practice. They will still be able to go into the tournaments. Andrew Cornball was the coach that was with them at no cost to us. It was all voluntary. So they, moving forward into the tournaments, they will be individual athletes from the South Branch schools. So it was just a really good agreement to continue these girls to grow and stay involved in the sport and get better. So we're really fortunate to be able to do this.
Okay. At this time, I'd entertain any questions from the public on agenda items. For anybody that's here for non-agenda items, after we go through approval of these, we will open the floor up for non-agenda items. So at this time, if there's anybody that has anything they'd like to ask, I'd ask you to step forward to the microphone. It is a 2-minute limit, and state your name, your address, before you ask the question or make the comment. Anybody?
Actually, I was looking for the sheet to see if it was 250 or 275 on the last sheet. Do you have the board packet right by there? I think I sent it to you. I'm thinking it might have been 250 to your point, it's now 275. It was the Ohio Department of Education. Great about that. Okay. Not knowing where it's going to raise, if we didn't approve it, we would have had to come back and reapprove and increase it. In the past, we actually paying more, so we did decrease it. But they don't tell us until the end of the year. So the year before, it only increased by 25, but not knowing what it's going to increase for this year. Just be able to say, we'll see where it ends in the next year.
Okay, if there are no other questions, we'll go back through. First up is the approval of the fiscal year 21 appropriations. Can I have a motion to accept those? Terry makes the motion. May I have a second? Brian seconds. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up would be the approval of the 2021 school year school bus routes, stops, and procedures. Can I have a motion to accept that? Taylor moves. Can I have a second? Amy seconds. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up is approval of payment in lieu of transportation. May I have a motion to accept that? Terry makes the motion. May I have a second? Taylor seconds. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next up would motion to accept the declaration of being impractical to transport folks to private school. May I have a motion for that? Amy moves. May I have a second? Brian makes a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to accept the approval of the modification of the student activity fee for the 2021 school year. May I have a motion for that? Taylor moves. May I have a second? Terry seconds. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Approval for the athletic related expenses from the general fund. May I have a motion for that? Amy moves. May I have a second? Brian seconds. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And lastly, approval for the independent golf participation in the OSAA girls golf. Can I have a motion for that? Terry moves. May I have a second? Taylor seconds. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And next up would be public participation for non-agenda items. Same thing, 2 minutes per person. And if you would step up to the microphone and state your name and your address if you have a question. Anybody?
One of the things that I don't think got addressed tonight, but was brought up, it's recently brought up, was the school report cards. I know this year, they didn't do that, they didn't do the grades, but looking at it, I mean, I think we actually did pretty well, similar to what we've done in prior years. 97% took the ACT, 40 was like 43.6% were remediation free, which means they were college ready. And that dovetails pretty much with the number of kids. I think they also measure how many kids we send to college and how many actually graduate in 6 years. The thing that's always concerned me there is to see that we send a, ballpark 75, 80% of them go to college, and about 45% of them seem to graduate in 6 years. So those are the kids that graduate. I think where we have an opportunity there is I think for some kids in college that would probably be better off encouraged to go into things like the trades, stuff like that. And I know for people my age, we've always been taught, everybody should go to college. I think increasingly, especially with the cost of college, that's probably not a good idea. So that would be one opportunity I think we would have is to identify those kids. And if you look at the kids that aren't remediation free, they're getting aren't remediation free, that pretty much dovetails with what we're doing. What we're seeing the results coming back that aren't, that basically aren't making it to college. So I think it would be a good opportunity to try to encourage those kids to get into some type of vocational education rather than spending, even if you go to YSU, you're looking at $10,000 a year, is a lot of money. The other thing that I think you do really well on, looking through trying to compare some of the districts, some of these even close, is the pool enrollment credit. The number of kids that we actually send out to Penn State, State, and YSU so that they're earning credits. We have 52.7%, and the next closest district is like the 23%. So I think, especially for targeting those kids that are college ready ACT, I think most of those are actually getting college credits. That prepares them well for college. I know maybe you've had kids, your kids. It's a very beneficial program. I've pushed this for a long time, but I think we're actually, if you look at our statistics, we're actually doing a pretty good job of matching those kids up that are really college material and then go to YSU and CCP. So I think we continue to do that and continue to succeed with that. But overall, I think it looks good. Congratulations.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Mike Engel, 11301 Foxway Lane. I was here last month. Said after 2 weeks, we kind of looked at metrics. We talked about interrupting the school days, one of those things. Didn't hear anything about where we're at with that.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Williams, 1175 Washington Road. I'd like to just point out some school districts that immediately touch South Range. Ormond, Canfield, Western Reserve, West Range, Columbiana, Salem, Etonia, and Springfield. All of those touch South Range. All of those schools offer kids in-person, in-class instruction 5 days a week. South Range is the only one that doesn't. I think it's a disservice what South Range is doing. So whatever CDC or public health guidelines that have been followed apparently is not in sync with the immediate adjacent school districts of this school district.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, next up will be the August-September district update. Mrs. Carlson.
Thank you. Rich stole some of my thunder. I was going to talk about the report card. Just so parents are aware, the state is not giving a quote-unquote grade on the report card, but we have seen improvements. Even the graduation rate did improve this year, and will continue to do so. Mr. Brown was actually already looking at what students might need some extra support to ensure we are addressing actually a very minimal amount of students who are at risk of not passing for the end of this year. So we're already addressing that and moving forward. We are offering a lot of credits. As Mr. Frenchak said, we have a lot of dual credit. And even for the students who maybe end up not going to college, it might have been a way for them to determine that they would rather go for a trade by having that opportunity. I am hoping that last year was the first year that the Builders Trade did a big event at Campo Fair. I'm hoping that maybe in the spring we'll be able to do it again, because it did actually bring to light a lot of the trades in Mahoney County. And we took students there, so they got a hands-on experience, because it is important for kids to see all the different options that they can go through. Our August update, I have a couple people in different groups I would like to thank first. Coming back to school, we had a lot of things that we had to secure. One of the last things that we did secure were thermal scanners. So I first want to recognize Green Township. I believe we have Mr. Toy and Mr. Chismar are here today. I want to thank both of you guys. Mr. Chismar reached out to the school district. They had some COVID money also, and they wanted to see what they could do to support our district. So in working with them, they did help us. We have thermal scanners in every wing, so that when the students come in, we could do the temperature checks. And Mr. Bagwell and I are gonna go to their meeting tomorrow night, because we wanna thank them and continue this partnership, because, you know, it's really nice to know that people were, as we've heard in the past, the community will step up and people stepped up. So we wanna thank you guys personally for coming tonight and for being here first. Another group I wanted to thank is our South Range Foundation. During this time, we had to secure some electronic tools and different curriculum, as well as also the thermal scanners. So the South Range Foundation stepped up and immediately helped the elementary with their online resource along with their elementary PTO. They helped support the rest of the thermal scanners, and most recently, during the hybrid, as well as even if we, let's say way down, I'm gonna say way down the road, end up remote this year, we needed to secure some more laptops. The foundation met with me last week and have already secured a certain amount that Mr. Pagnotta was able to, I believe it was 120. Am I right on that, Mr. Pagnotta?
180.
180 Chromebooks have been placed in order, and the foundation will be paying for those. So we are very grateful for our foundation. I don't believe I saw Mr. Titus in this tour, but it's possibly going to come. So that partnership with our foundation, our school district, is extremely lucky to have. So I want to make sure we, you know, really point the two groups out, as well as our South Range Elementary PTA. August, the teachers, if you guys noticed, the teachers were here really doing a lot of creative work together, working on the electronics, making sure the Google Classrooms weren't just full of information, but engaging, interactive with the students. So the teachers were teaching the teachers. It was really neat. They were holding different work sessions and really helping each other to support how they were going to instruct throughout the school year. So I really want to highlight our teachers on that, because they went above and beyond to help each other. And that was really neat to watch them coming in here, setting up work sessions and working together. Our remote learning is, as Mr. Mato said, continuing to be enhanced. We had a few students move in here late August, and when I say a few, probably 20 or 30, and they all chose remote. So some of our areas of remote, we are addressing the coverage, because the teachers that we have assigned are a little overloaded right now, not able to give the quality time to the remote students. So we are working out those kinks and working with the principals and making sure that our remote learners are engaged and growing just as much as our students in person. So we've asked, what are we doing? So our return to school has been a success. We have gotten back here successfully and safely. Students have learned different things. We've worked out the cafeteria. Some of the differences going on in our building is we have, you know, one cafeteria, so they're serving half of them to the classrooms, half of them here in the cafeteria. We have done this all very successfully. We have had very happy students who have learned the new routines without any incidents. Our food service, our transportation, our technology department has worked endlessly with our administration, and it was a success bringing our students back in. At the last board meeting, thank you for approving the slow start. We have a total of almost 90% of our students, 7th through 12th grade, in our building. Speaking to other school districts, that is the highest around, so we had to adjust a few things, and we did that. We will be following the reset, restart when we return to school, so we will be following the guidance of the other districts, where it will be within the 3 to 6 feet that American Pediatric, closer to the 4.5 to 6. Teachers have been working to clear out their rooms. So with that said, we would like to return to in-person 5 days a week, October 1st. So next Thursday, all students will be picked up on a bus and be brought to school. The reason I chose that date is because we are required to offer testing to all of our remote students. So we have it already pre-scheduled. Students will be coming in. We need a little bit of that room to do the mandatory state testing. We are finalizing our one-on-one diagnostic. The elementary and the kindergarten, first, second, have to do a lot of one-on-one. And right now, they're in the process of doing that. So without interrupting that, October 1st will be the first day that we will just come fully back in. All students will be picked up on the bus. I'll be doing one call tomorrow, letting all parents know that on that date, we are returning to 5 days a week in-person education. Couple other things just to highlight. We would like to remind our parents to continue to do the symptom checks, even though we have thermal scanners here, checking the temperatures at home. If the children are ill or not attending, please make sure that when you call in, that you do notify us and tell us why. And lastly, we've been made aware of a few parents who are going on vacation. So in my one call, I will just be reminding our parents, make sure you kind of let us know so we can talk to you about it. It does kind of settle the nerves of other people who hear or see on social media that there's a family in Florida or in a state that maybe is a high alert. So it's best if we know, just so that we are aware of it. We have put together a COVID link on the district's website. Schools are mandatory reporting. So just so parents are aware, if we do receive a positive case, or should I say probably when we receive a positive case in our building, the students who are considered close contact will get a personal letter, the classroom will get a different letter, and the district will be notified if there is a case, because we are mandatory, and we'll keep all that information on our district website under the COVID link that we have already created.
Okay, thank you very much for that update. Next up is executive session under Ohio Revised Code 121.22 and Board Policy 0166 for the consideration of the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee, and also for the consideration of the purchase of property for public purpose, or sale or other disposition of unneeded, obsolete, unfit for use property at this time. I'd ask for a motion to go into the executive session. Harry makes a motion. May I have a second? Brian seconds. Mr. Phillips, roll call.
Taylor Christian? Terry Lally? Ralph Wicks?
Yes.
Amy White? Brian Bagwell? Yes.
Board goes in executive session at 7:47 p.m. Thank you all. Welcome to State of Vermont. Thank you very much for attending.
Yeah, we're good. How's Sally doing? Sally, good, yeah. Okay. Are they? Oh, wow. You leave them ready? I think I'm going to Talk to me, said hi. Take care. You too. Thank you for the scanners. That's nice.
Thank you. It was your tax money.
Hey,
By the way of the federal government.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's nice.
We don't spend it, it goes back. Yeah, so we'll get it back. We're gonna discuss tomorrow night, maybe support.
That's good, because it's nice when the kids come in off the bus, it takes the temperature.
That one over there is fantastic. You see it? There's a box, you can get 35 people at a time. The numbers will pop up with
They
a video.
come in, yeah. I know that one time the kid, there was one kid who had his hair on, they gonna take very long, it's not very, you know, but that's good.
Sorry.
I'm supposed to tell you my husband said hello, by the way.
Oh, very good, I need that. All right, we'll see you.
Usable time. Not mine.
Okay, we're back at 8:22 p.m. Personnel, Mrs.
Okay, first one, I would like to approve the 2021 school year, the following people as substitute teachers on an as-needed basis, as long as all criteria is met. Keith Jurnoski, long-term sub, Jenny Benson in remote learning. Elizabeth Callahan for long-term sub for Brooke Stewart. Courtney Kane, long-term sub, remote learning. Nicole Lester, long-term substitute for Carol Dawson. And then general substitutes would be Samuel Maffey, Christian Lucero, Denise Kosick, Rhea McDonald, Maria Joseph, Marilyn Carr, Michael Burns. Approve the itinerant and or substitute bus drivers, cafeteria aides, custodial aides, teaching aides, nurses, office aides, playground aides, bus and van drivers for the 2021 school year. Vicki Calvin, substitute nurse, Paul Kubik, substitute driver, Keith Martick and Dave Jenkins, also substitute bus driver, Carrie Taylor, substitute aide, Michelle Wardle, substitute aide. Grant a 1-year long-term substitute teaching contract for the 2021 school year to Heidi Gillum. She will be placed on the SRBOE and SREA negotiated agreement salary of step 1 and will receive healthcare benefits for the 2021 school year. Grant a 1-year limited contract to Mary A for the 2021 school year, as Mrs. A will be placed on the SRBOE, SREA negotiated salary step 4 for the 2021 school year. Approve the supplemental contracts for the 2021 school year. Angela Rosen and Lisa Fullerton as mentors. Tamer Graham, volunteer football coach. Lily London, assistant girls soccer coach. Kaylee Luckman, assistant varsity volleyball. They were on here late because we were waiting on approval on some of the things through ODE, which is taking forever right now. Lisa Blythe is part-time educational aide for the 2021 school year. Approve Carrie Taylor as a part-time bus aide for the 2021 school year. Approve Eileen Highland as an hourly instructional aide not to exceed 10 hours a week for the 2021 school year to help with scheduling for special education and Miss Lewis. Rescind the contract for Jim Ridgely of the high school marching band percussion instruments for the 2021 school year, 94-10 personnel, and then retroactively approve Jim Ridgely as an interim assistant high school band director for the 2021 school year at a rate of $2,828.24. Approve Dan Papalardo as an English language arts learner teacher for the 2021 school year at a rate of $40.27. Retroactively approve Jared Jenick as the wastewater treatment plant operator effective August 1st through July 21st, 2021 at an hourly rate of $35. Any work exceeding 1 hour per day will be at a rate of $25 per hour. Mr. Jenick will not be eligible for health care benefits. Approve Alfred Davison as a part-time cleaner for the 2021 school year at a rate of $10. Approve Denver Kittle as a student helper in the K-12 complex cafeteria for the 2021 school year at a rate of $8.76 per hour, not to exceed 3 hours per day. Approve Dr. Michael Engel as a volunteer unpaid athletic team position for soccer for the 2021 school year. Approve a change in job title for April Hayberger, accounts payable coordinator to assistant treasurer in recognition of her earning the Ohio Treasurer's license effective September 21st, 2021. Accept the resignation of Renee Amir, part-time educational aide, effective August 4th, 2020.
accept resignation of Lorraine Cornelius, part-time educational aide, effective August 17th, 2020.
Okay, may I have a motion to accept all the personnel? Carrie makes the motion, may I have a second? Amy seconds, Mr. Phillips, roll call please.
Taylor Christian?
Yes.
Mary Lally?
Yes.
Ralph Wentz?
Yes.
Amy White? Brian Maglow?
Yes.
May I have a motion for adjournment? We'll give it to Taylor, Taylor motions. Sorry. It's very difficult for me, I'm sorry, I don't forget, but it's very difficult from here to hear who's, I try to look up there each time, so I am sorry. Brian makes the motion, Terry seconds, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I don't do it on purpose.
It's hard to tell the difference.
But
I will help you.
it's difficult.
It is.
Thank you all.
Yeah, my daughter, had a sister, Allie, best friend since elementary. We're obviously about 2 years, he's big friends. They're just,
I cooked dinner before I left.
I mean, they kind of just like